Morning, everyone. We'll start with the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking you to watch over this meeting of our commissioners and watch over our county employees about their business this week. Just ask that you bless everyone in our county and be with all of us and help us to do the things that you would want us to do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Read the minutes from last week's meeting. I make a motion to approve them as written.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye. You always want me to be the bearer of bad news, don't you?
You're pretty good at it.
Make a motion, we pay the bills in the amount of $843,645.47. That's my motion.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I've got several things for you this morning. I've got the sheriff's count somewhere.
Sheriff's report is total prisoners 46, 11 releases this past week. Total prisoners in 46, farmed out 0, farmed in 19, 911 calls 83, jail contacts 4,045, total calls for service 511, civil service papers served 23, VIN inspections 1, new cases open 9, cases closed 12, vehicle crashes 6, SRO activities 184, bailiff contacts 119, livestock out 11.
I have the sheriff's fee report that needs a motion to accept.
Sheriff's fee report in the amount of $6,837.50. I make a motion to accept this.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I have the park report through November.
Park report for November was total income was $20,264.78. Expenses was $14,508.99. For a gain of $5,755.79. That leaves us with a year-to-date of gain of $46,015.51.
All right, and then I have a whole stack of ads and abates. When we get to this point in the year, we've had to shut everything down while we're doing the tax abstract and wait till it's approved before we can process. So we had a bunch of these build up, and the numbers are a little odd because we had some that did not apply correctly when we did the tax abstract, and we had to go back and redo them. So I've got some skips and numbers in here. So they're not all in order. But what I have is add and abate orders 2022. I've got 1 through 35, then 685 through 691, and 718 through 772. And if we look at the totals on those, it's actually a reduction on the tax change amount of $6,513.16. However, 4,325 of that was actually an abatement to a special assessment in Lacine, so it's really not tax dollars. It was an assessment they'd had me add, and then the person came in and paid, so they took it back off. So it's really on the tax change, there's about $2,200 of a decrease.
So how do you want to do this?
Just a motion.
Do it all at once.
Yeah, do it all in one motion, and I wouldn't even, he's got it all in the thing, so.
Yeah.
I make a motion to accept these ad and abates in the amount that David has.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And if you guys want to like split those up and each of you just maybe initial half of them or something, I don't need all the signatures on them.
It's like yours is smaller.
And then one more thing I had here before we get into anything else, I've got a letter from Trico that says, since 2011, John Morse has served on the board of directors for Trico. His term will expire at the end of December. John has expressed his willingness to serve another term. He's been an active and valued board member. So I join our board of directors in requesting that you consider appointing John Morris to an additional 3-year term effective January 1st, 2023. Please advise me of your decision. That's from John Platt.
And that'll be a board that we do like we're doing on the.
No.
That's an outside.
That's their board.
Okay.
It's not one of ours, so it's somebody we send a delegate to.
I don't know John. Do you know him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll make a motion that we.
Continue on with the new
him
term?
Continue on with another 3-year term.
Is it 3 years, David?
Yes.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. And then I think you all have copies of Randy's report on fires for the week. He stopped by earlier, but he had an appointment he had to go to. So he just left his report for you and said if you needed anything, we could give him a call or an email, but that was all he had for you this morning, was just the report.
We got a total of 11 incidents for the week. Fire department. Leaves it a total for 526 for the year.
And I think that's all I have, man.
AMR,
Good morning, Galen Anderson with AMR. So far for the few days, we're into the month of December, we're at 7 ambulance transports. And next week I'll have a detailed report for the month of November. And staffing wise, we're still at 2 open positions. 1 position that's open due to an extended leave of absence. So that may fill in a few more months, otherwise just working on kind of evaluating and enhancing our strategies for recruiting paramedics and EMTs in the area. So that's about all I got. Anything for me?
I don't have anything.
Nope.
You, Rick?
Nope.
Have a good week.
Thank you, Galen. Missy.
Okay, what I give you there is our Cepheid machine that tests for COVID, flu A, flu B, and RSV is, the warranty is up. And so we renewed it last year, for continuing services, and it's the time to do that again. It's $4,782.90. And it seems very high, but if one of those cartridges go out, it's $9,000, and we have 4.
Can you give us some numbers though on those? I mean, how many RSVs did you do test?
This was for COVID, right?
No, well, this is our Cepheid that we got during the COVID,
Oh, okay.
but it tests for all 4 of those, and we have the only machine around that does that. And so it's really nice since RSV is on the rise.
How many, like you said, how many tests did we do for the year?
Last week we did 16.
For the year?
Oh, no, not for the year. Oh, we're probably sitting at about 400. And then we did flu and COVID vaccinations also, childhood immunization. So we've already, our phone was ringing off the hook as soon as I walked in this morning, people need to be tested. So you guys can look at this and we can vote on it next week on whether we want to continue that. I highly recommend that we do. Every once in a while, we'll have a little glitch and we'll have to call them and
Can you bring us numbers next week?
what kind of numbers?
The total numbers for the year on RSV, total number of the year for COVID tests.
Are you wanting the tests or positives?
No, I don't care if they're positive. If you did a test,
Okay.
that's
yeah.
what the machine's for, right? Just to
Oh,
conduct
yeah.
the
Well,
test.
that's what I said last week, but I can get you one for
the whole
22
year.
up to now. Yeah.
That'll help determine whatever. And if you didn't get it renewed, what would happen to the machine?
Well, if one of the cartridges, one of four went out, it would cost $9,000 for them to come and replace that.
And then this $4,000 just covers the replacement of the cartridge?
It covers everything.
So it's
If we
total
need them to come
maintenance on it.
service it, the maintenance, all of that, yes.
This is the only one in the county, I guess.
It is, yes,
Okay.
it is.
Do hospitals have it or what? mean,
I don't know about the hospitals. I just know we're the only clinic in the county that has
Okay.
it. Okay.
Danny will be here next week and we'll just
Who?
vote then.
I'm sorry?
Danny will be here next week, so then we'll.
Okay, I left him one over there, so. And that is all that I have this week.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Jessica. Let me take some of them.
No,
Shorted you.
no. I'm about out to eat, but go ahead.
You sign your name quicker than I do.
Jessica Hightower, Economic Development. I have answers to several questions that you all have had lately. First of all, as far as using ARPA money for park repair and maintenance and improvements, since the lease is in place, the county has already established operations. We can use ARPA funds for that for public use for the park. I gave you senior center numbers. That is congregate meals for the year. Their fiscal
Where's Lacine's home delivered meals?
year ends in October, so it's September to October, so that's a full year's worth of numbers. Pleasanton services Lacey and Prescott in Linn Valley for home delivery.
All three.
Yes,
Okay.
4, including Pleasanton. So that's why their home delivery meal is so high, their numbers. The congregate meals, the first column for congregate meals is for the year, and then the last column, the average daily, is congregate meals. That's the average for that facility.
Just for the facility. not
Yes.
the home.
Yes, that does not include the home meals. The other thing I need to let you know is that we have a county officials meeting scheduled for December 20th at 7 o'clock at Bunker Hill. And we are going to talk about the new county zoning regs that Darren's working on, and also how we can partner with the cities for the areas surrounding city limits. And that's what I have for you today. Do you have anything for me?
I can't think of anything right now. You got anything, Rick?
We have started ordering the supplies for the Centerville and Parker senior centers for those grants that we got. So we're working on that. We order everything and it's a reimbursement grant. So the AC and the refrigerator for Centerville, once that's installed, we'll submit our invoices to Area on Aging.
All at once, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, we're going to put the fridge in. That'll just slide into the normal spot. And then,
Flooring at Parker, I believe.
we're going to do we're going to have Derailed Commodities come over and do the flooring. That's where we priced it. We're going to put the countertops in at Parker. And then, is it Weber that does heating and cooling? He's going to do the one at the Centerville HVAC system.
Okay, well, thanks for those numbers. You have anything, Rick?
No, we need to talk about all this stuff next week, though.
Okay.
For Pleasanton, so.
Did anybody get with anybody on Pleasanton as far as Danny?
Danny went to the city
You
council.
went to the city council meeting, but I don't know anything other than
The
that.
results are what the Linn County Journal reported. I don't know that Linn County News reported anything. Didn't see anything, but they reported an entire article. And the article wasn't in favor. The article was that was written was, and I don't have Dan here to verify it, but they still wanted $1,500 a month for that room. And they haven't come to an agreement yet. But I will tell you this, that if an average of, we pay about $30,000 a year for area on aging for our seniors, for the meals, and they haven't raised it. And if you added that $1,500 a month just for Pleasanton, the reason that $1,500 a month came up originally was because as they were building that community center on grants and off the backs of Pleasanton people that was donating their time and stuff, we had originally wanted a room in there, and that room was going to be equipped with the kitchen. We were the only one in 7 counties on the area on aging that had our own kitchen. That was decided way back years and years ago, and we had our own kitchen. We were preparing our own meals. And then when Mid-America Nutrition, who originally had the contract with Mid-America, with area on aging, decided they went bankrupt, closed down, and area on aging took it over. And whether they went bankrupt, I don't know exactly if that was all true, but it all went to, it was, and it all went to area on aging. They took it over and built the building, or repaired the building, made changes, and then COVID came along and they got a lot of money for it. But to help out that situation. So we don't need that kitchen anymore, really. I mean, we need steam tables. It's all we've been using for years now because they bring all the meals here and then we disperse it, like on this paper, to different areas. Lacine's was closed down because we had one person going to it for 7 or 8 months, 1 to 2 people, and we were paying $9 to $10 an hour, whatever the area on aging pays those people, to stay there for 2 or 3 hours a day. So it was, you might as well just gave them $30 to go eat lunch somewhere because that's what we were spending on it. So that individual started getting her meals at home. So we started the home delivery on top of the Meals on Wheels, and that's how we do it in Lacine. It's worked effectively. And fortunately, the library up there and that program has seniors there once or twice a week anyway. So it's worked very well there. But if we added the $1,500 a month, for 20 days, if we did that, that'd be kind of crazy. We'd be talking $75 a day to have 10 people to eat there on top of the, whatever we designate for Pleasanton already for their meals. So I don't think it's beneficial to us. So hopefully we can work out something or just repair the other building. And we need Danny here for that.
Right.
That's what I got out of that
Okay.
whole thing.
Sounds good.
So,
Do you have anything else for me?
I don't.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Did I get all that right?
Yeah.
That's a memory there, huh?
Darren?
Darren Wilson, Planning and Zoning Director. I've got 2 conditional use permits to present to you. The first one is CUP 2206 for Brandon McGinnis. The said property is 118 acres and zoned agricultural. The property is fronted along Waddles Road. The applicant is seeking a conditional use permit to operate a venue and cabin rental. All necessary notifications to surrounding landowners have been properly made by the United States Postal Service and publication of notice of hearing in the official county newspaper. Staff findings. The use does fit with the character of the neighborhood. The zoning of nearby properties is agricultural. The property is suitable for proposed use. The proposed use should not detrimentally affect nearby properties. Property will remain as currently zoned. The proposed use should not detrimentally affect the public health, safety, and welfare, and may benefit public welfare by providing a boost to local economy. The requested conditional use permit conforms to the Linn County Comp Plan. Landowners came in and voiced that they were concerned about it turning into a bar and noise level. Staff recommends approval of this conditional use permit with conditions to include those applicable as listed in Article 10.3 guidelines for conditions, that all required licensing by the local, state, and federal regulations applicable to such businesses are obtained and remain in full compliance, that if granted, property remains in full compliance with all regulations pertaining to such businesses under federal, state, and local law and regulation, all fire and safety regulations, the Linn County nuisance and sanitation regulations, and those set forth within this conditional use permit at all times and with proper findings as required in Golden versus the City of Overland Park. It passed with a 8-0 vote.
Okay. What's the number on it? What's it called again? The name?
CUP 2206.
Okay, that's good. I'll make a motion, we pass CUP 2206 and adopt the findings.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The second one is conditional use permit 2205 Lavender Family Ranch.
Is that why you're here? Yeah, either one of you? Okay.
The said property is 209 acres and zoned agricultural. The property is fronted along Highway 52. The applicant is seeking a conditional use permit to operate a venue with rental of cabins, horse stall rental, RV pad rentals, and trail riding. All necessary notifications to surrounding landowners has been properly made by the United States Postal Service and publication of notice of hearing in the official county newspaper. Staff findings: the use does fit the character of the neighborhood. The zoning of nearby properties is agricultural. The property is suitable for proposed use. The proposed use should not detrimentally affect nearby properties. Property will remain as currently zoned. The proposed use should not detrimentally affect the public health, safety, and welfare, and may benefit public welfare by providing a boost in local economy. The requested conditional use permit conforms to the Linn County Comp Plan. Staff recommends approval of this conditional use permit to include those applicable as listed in Article 10.3 guidelines for conditions, that all required licensing by all local, state, and federal regulations applicable to such businesses be obtained and remain in full compliance, that if granted, property remains in full compliance with all regulations pertaining to such businesses under federal, state, and local laws and regulations, all fire and safety regulations, the Linn County nuisance and sanitation regulations, and those set forth with this conditional use permit at all times, with a proper finding as required in Golden versus the City of Overland Park. It did not pass for the rental portion. They passed it 8-1 on the condition that it be used only for family purposes.
Okay, so what you have here is a situation where technically they approved the CUP, but they added a condition that wasn't anticipated the condition that it could only be used for family.
Why was that?
So in the beginning, they set a bunch of cabins out there and wasn't in compliance with the conditional use permit. And I approached the Lavenders about it and explained to them why they needed a conditional use permit. And in my talks with them, they said that they were wanting to eventually use the building out there as a venue, have cabin rentals, do the horse stall rentals and everything. And so in agreement, they came in and applied for the conditional use permit and came into compliance. And it was passed for family use just to cover the conditions of what they were, for the buildings they had set out there. But they were asked to come back within 5 years and reapply if they decided to monetize it. Well, I think they're wanting to monetize it either now or later, but it got denied for the monetary use and just got approved for.
What was the reason for denial for that?
I don't think there was a good reason given. I
No.
think it was more a personal matter on the part of some of the board members. Frankly, your options are three. You can accept the conditional use permit as sent to you with that condition in it. You can reject it, the conditional use permit, or you can send it back and request changes. If you want to send it back and request that they consider dropping that condition, that probably would be a
Well, we're in compliance on, they were in compliance on everything now. That
Yes.
was not at the beginning because
Right.
they built
They got a little ahead of themselves. Is that what it was?
Yeah, they got the building permits to build, well, they got the building permit to originally build the one building. They didn't have permits for the cabins.
Okay.
They came into compliance with that, but that put more dwelling units than one on a parcel. So I explained that they needed to do something, either move the cabins or get a conditional use
The
permit.
septic system all compliant?
Yep.
Was that done between them building cabins?
Actually, they set it up to where they could hook all of it. So some of the cabins are just cabins. They've got a building with showers and restrooms in it for people to use. And one or two of the cabins and the RV pads are tied into the sanitation system.
So I guess my question is, they built the building first, right? And then they built the cabins, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when they built the building, is there a bathroom and stuff in there, facilities?
Yes.
And so when they put the septic system in, which we were supposed to go out and to inspect, and I assume we did,
And it was.
was that done just based on that individual facility, or was it based on future use?
Based on future use.
And then so why didn't we know about that?
I can't answer that, Rick. I wasn't involved in all that.
You see what I'm saying? We should have known.
there was
That,
an expansion and we was unaware of the
Yeah.
expansion is what you're saying.
so I don't find them at fault with it. I find the county at fault with it. It was just a bad decision, or somehow they didn't get back to us, whoever that was. I don't know if it was the last inspector or the one before that, but we had knowledge of something, and so I don't think that they did anything wrong. So I would think we should send it back to them, to your planning and zoning, and tell them, I don't see what they've done wrong. Just remove that
I
one.
don't see that, but since we passed one previous, just
Yeah,
today,
it's the same thing.
it's the same thing.
Same
If
exact
we-
thing.
If we do this, I think we're
Okay.
wrong.
And I don't
So you
have-
want to send it back, or
I want to send it
Me
back.
too.
Okay.
So you want to vote to send it back, and it'll need to go back as a written, just one sentence, but the law says it's got to be in writing. So you want it to say, I'll write it and send
To
it.
go back to the planning and zoning and.
Right.
Okay.
I'll write it and send it.
So that's my motion, to send this 2205, is that it?
Yes.
Back to planning and zoning for reconsideration.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And my question is, I don't have to wait, do I? Can I
You
can
can
I
take-
do it at the next
You
meeting?
can do it at the next meeting.
Okay.
No time involved.
And can you, can you get them together before that? We don't have to wait they shouldn't have to wait another month or two before planning and zoning gets a hold of it.
Meeting's in a week, isn't it?
December 13th, so next week. Or, yeah. So I can get a hold of them and get them back in here. So,
And we've got to figure out some board members too. Have we got that figured out?
I don't know.
Are you down a board member now?
no.
Oh, you're not?
I've
Okay.
got 9. And the way mine works out, I've got 3 that fall off or up for renewal next year, and then 3 the following year. So mine's set to actually
good.
start right off the way that we're,
Okay.
And 3 come from each commissioner's district.
yes.
Okay.
Darren, I got a question for you on the comprehensive plan and planning and zoning. Can you remind those, you had some meetings. What was the meetings about your last planning and zoning?
The last workshop, the last
Yeah,
meeting.
workshop.
The last workshop was about, the new zoning and subdivision regulations.
Can you remind them, because I've got a couple phone calls, 2 of them, by the way, that when the planning and zoning members should be looking at that comprehensive plan and agreeing, because that's what we're working for. That's why we spent the money and all the time to work towards that plan
Right,
and that's what we feel that the people wanted for us, for the county.
right,
And not their personal feelings. To leave their personal feelings, they have to leave that out.
right.
Well, I think if we go off of what the survey was,
Yeah.
you know, we've already gave the people of Linn County.
Yeah, we have.
The broadband.
Right.
That was the number one concern on
This
the
is more.
survey.
This is more for the green energy part, the solar farms and the wind farms.
And I will,
Survey, all that was in the survey.
Right, yeah,
is what I'm
yeah.
saying.
I will say that was brought up in the last workshop. We just touched base on it. And, the comprehensive plan was brought up, the percentage that were against wind and the percentage against or for solar. So that is they are taking that into consideration.
Okay, I just want to make sure that's clear to them.
Okay,
That's what our goal should be as commissioners and that planning and zoning is to work towards what the people have worked so hard for in the comprehensive plan, the surveys together
I agree.
want. Okay,
All right.
thank
You got
you.
anything else?
No.
Thank you, Darren.
Thank you.
Before you guys get too far into anything, I'm missing about a dozen of these ads and abates. We got some sitting there somewhere.
Yeah. See, he slipped some more on me. That's what he did. You go. Where's the camera at? Let's replay that. How'd you know that?
Because they weren't in order.
That's gonna
Too. And then
make somebody happy.
decide.
They're unhappy. I mean.
Should have kept signing instead of giving the hard time.
Yeah.
Sean, you want to come ahead?
Sean West, Public Works Administrator.
Yes, I have.
First item I have for you is a burial permit. This is going to be BP 2022-25. And this is going to be D&L Services putting in a 1-inch water service line. The location is going to be 1475 Road, near the intersection of 1077. The permit's been signed. Harry was gone that day, so I had Jeremy take a look at the permit and signed off on it, and I did as well.
Sean, you and I have talked about this before, but since, you know, as far as, I want it to where the grader operator over this crossing knows this is happening, you know, because, and when it happens, because just like the last one that happened up there, it sank over the last rain. It was nobody's fault, but then it went through the weekend and it got really bad. You know, it's as far as And if the grader operator knows it in his district,
Yeah.
he can keep an eye on, you know, if there's a way we can do that.
Now that they're on tablets, I believe we can send work requests to that operator directly, just like we do other service requests. But the service request would only be informational to him and let him know
It was
that it's been
it was
issued.
in my district, and I seen it, and I actually told him about it. But like he said, if he'd have known, we talked, and he said that he'd like some way of knowing about it. You know, the minute they cross it, and then he could kind of keep an eye on it. And I thought that was a good idea myself. So
Mhm.
So you'll need a motion to approve that burial permit.
look at this. I'll make a motion. We approve this burial crossing BP 2022-25.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
There's some information on last week that we spoke about the landfill. The first item I have up is the fee schedule that I'm proposing for 2023.
Did you make a copy for our new commissioner?
Yes. I'd worked with Al in discussion, and then he sent me this year's fee schedules and covered some of the rising cost for disposal of tires and also the concerns on C&D, MSW as far as the rising cost around us for other area operations. I believe the fee schedule also allows for minimums. We've maintained the minimums at a $10 minimum if it doesn't reach the tonnage requirements to start charging per ton, which will keep that small load or operation at a reasonable rate for those services.
So is the tire, are we not cutting the rims out or cutting the sides out anymore and burying them? Or are we just taking the entire tire to wherever we take it?
Currently, we don't have the manpower to do that, and we are hauling them off.
So this is $4. Will it cover the cost of it?
The cost that we're paying to haul them off went up last year for fuel surcharges, but I don't believe that we're going to be able to defer all that cost without making a rather large raise to that. I would hope that at some point in the future, we can go back to disposal of those or recycle of those tires. But at this point, no, that's not. I don't believe that's going to cover all of the cost.
Because they charge more than that at a service station if you get your tire,
That is very correct.
recovery fees like $7 or $8 a piece. And if you charge too much, they're going to end up on the county roads.
That is correct.
Does the C and D, $30 a ton, how do you come up with that?
The C&D, that was a estimate or an arbitrary raise from what surrounding areas and the fact that we haven't raised that for some period.
That's going in our landfill, right?
That's correct. That's construction, demolition, debris.
What's the MSW?
That's your household.
Household.
Yeah. So it sounds like you and him have done some research on this, right? Great.
As best we can, but as far as the cost coverages and things, if we were to raise up to try to defer those costs, I think we would go beyond and create some of our own issues.
So the antique machine that he had down there, I don't know if that, one of the Maloney brothers made that machine or put it together years and years and years ago. And the one where they cut the sidewalls out.
Correct,
There's obviously machines that do that,
correct.
and that would probably be helpful to know. Even if they had a new machine, a brand new one that did that, would they have the manpower to do that?
Not currently.
How many tonnage of tires do we sell a year or get rid of a year? Do you have that figure?
I do not currently, but I can get that number for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I know there's a few companies that buy those, not buy them, but you can not buy them at all.
It used to be a guy come
Yeah.
picked them up and made,
Playground
Windbreaks.
stuff, yeah.
they used.
Oh, okay.
Cattle windbreaks out
Oh,
of
wow.
it. That guy passed away. He's no longer
Anyway,
in town to do it.
I know it's costly for that stuff, so I would venture into just estimate how much one of those, find out a price on a tire machine that does that.
I'll look into it.
Okay. And that might be something that ARPA money would pay for. If there is any left after the trailer.
The next item was
So do you
also-
need this approved?
Yes, please.
You got any problems with it?
I don't have a problem.
I'll make a motion and we accept the solid waste fee schedule increase for 2023 as published here.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
The next item I had was the cost benefit analysis. You inquired as to when it would be done for the landfill being prepared by Peppercorn. That is scheduled to be completed the week of the 12th. That's the only information that I have relayed. Our concerns about the cell issues and,
That's on the walking floor or the tipping
yes, that's
floor.
tipping floor and walking floor study on cost benefit analysis. I also made a contact or call to the supervisor engineer with KDHE, Charles Bauer, and spoke with him about the cell issue and the concerns we had about the C&D cells filling up and the cost and the engineering, moving those around. He and I had a discussion, and it was something that Al brought to my attention to talk to him about. The current cells, there are 6 cells open. I'm sorry, there are 6 cells. 5 of those are open and active. One's been closed. The permit's been closed on it and it has been recovered. The remaining 5 cells, if we chose to, we could go back out to our engineer, have the engineer do the work to it, build berms and bring the elevation of those up. We could only bring it up to allow no more than 10% per cell or 10% total of the 5 cells, which would be about half again of one of the 5 cells. But that should allow the current operation in existence, if we have a year and a half to 2 years left, it should almost double that time. And I believe it's going to be, according to Mr. Bauer, I believe that's going to be at a lot less cost and permit concerns or issues. It would have to be engineered, same as opening a new cell, but he's telling me this process is going to be a lot easier.
Is there ground across the road? Are we capable of making this cell out of it if we need to, or?
That's something we'd have to work with the engineers and with the state to propose a plan and then have the state approve that. But this plan would give us the time to make those considerations, extend the time of and the life cycle of the cells that we're working on at a minimal cost. From all parties considered, they're telling me this process and cost is going to be a lot less than opening the cell. Obviously, there'd be some engineering and some dirt work involved, so there is a cost involved in it. But if you'd like, I will go back to the engineers, find out what it will take to get the engineering done on that. And as part of the engineering, there should be a cost estimate on the dirt work.
We probably should do something.
Yeah. I think you should. Go ahead and get the estimates, find out what it is. But eventually, after we get this, you need to still work
Then we need-
across the road.
We need to plan for the future
It might be
expansion.
5 or 6 years down the road after that, but
True.
you know, that one cell filled up very quickly with all the stuff from the power and light.
Well, and Al and I have also been talking about some issues that he's having out there. We've got some contractors bringing materials, debris or roofing materials in. They are not an area operator, but when they bring it in, they claim to have collected those materials locally, which is allowed to be dumped out there. And I'm going to make some contact because I find the numbers odd that much material has been replaced or repaired in the small cities, because it just doesn't seem like that adds up. So we may, because of the cost of our C&D materials, be taking materials from other places. So we're going to look into that.
Have the landowner or the property owner have something signed where it comes from?
We'll look into that possibility.
You know, where if it's my roof or whatever, that I actually have to supply something with the driver.
We can see if there's some way to
Put an address on his receipt.
have a
He's
certification.
got a bill for it, I'm sure.
We'll look into how to do that. I'm not sure what other places do. Do you know of any?
I will have to look into that. I'm not for sure. Mr. Brower and I also talked about the concerns with the mattresses and things, and he asked me to do some emailing with him, but he thinks we're going to be able to resolve that issue pretty quickly. I never received an answer back on that.
Are we turning people away from when they bring up a mattress down there now?
No, we are not.
Okay.
So as far as the park goes, I spoke to Don George. He will be available to speak to you next week in reference to the park and the new lease. Noxious Weeds is testing for their pesticide licensing this week. And I need 10 minutes for non-elected personnel with the commissioners, and 10 minutes for legal. And at this point, until I resolve those, I'm sorry, that along with the barrel permit that we issued today, I have a moving permit, but those, as I read the application, don't require commission
I think that's
approval.
Moving a building or a house or something?
Moving a house.
Remember the last house they moved? They
That
lived on
is-
the road.
Even though that's why it doesn't take it, I've gone through those, but, and looked at the permitting and the work that this company's done as far as the insurance and the approvals they've got, and I'm pretty confident that this is not going to be the same situation. But even those not requiring your approval, should you want me to, I believe I can work through our council and get you copies of those so you're made aware of them.
Yeah, I don't know that it needs to be brought up here, but just to there's a house being moved down 1077 or something would be nice to know.
Okay.
But I don't think we should stick our nose into something we don't need to.
No, I just wanted to know whether you wanted made aware of those, since those aren't signed here.
Yeah, well, we'll just get with you after the meeting, one of us at a time, and see
Okay.
which houses or whatever's being moved.
This is all I had, unless you had questions for me.
No, nothing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary, you got anything?
nope.
Want to open it up? Did you have something you wanted to talk about?
Come ahead and state your name and reason you're here, if you would, please.
My name is Tyson Jinks, and I was evicted and trespassed from Linn County Park, and Mr. Gary told me I could come to this meeting and see what I could do to appeal that.
Okay. We're not going to appeal anything right now, today.
I know the process.
Yeah.
I do not know the process, and I'd like to know the process to do that.
There's not a formal process.
Okay.
Basically, I can't remember the circumstances even of the situation, but what we would want to do is probably have
Sean do your report on what occurred, and maybe if we have a written report on what occurred and why he was evicted, then present it to Mr. Jenks. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Present it to Mr. Jenks, let him respond to it, and then you can decide. Usually these kinds of appeals are done in writing.
Sure.
But we don't have a formal process in this case.
Yeah.
So, does that sound like a reasonable way to do it?
Fine with me.
That'll take us a week or two of processing.
Okay. Do I need to come back to another?
Sure.
Yeah.
You can come back when it's done.
I live
And-
out of state now. I was wondering if there was,
We'll give you advance notice if you want to come down.
Yeah, what we'll do is, if Sean could put together just a written summary of what occurred and why he was evicted.
I gave a summary, but if you need a copy, I'll give it to you.
the letter you gave me.
Yes, if you need.
I have the letter you gave me, and I would like some clarification on that as well. And he said that could be given by you guys too.
Sure.
Okay, well, if the commissioners and I can get a copy, I don't know if you gave me one or not, I can't remember. But if the commissioners and I can get a copy, let them have a chance to look at it.
Hey,
If you want to,
Sean, grab that. You mind if you make a couple of copies real quick?
and then if you want to, if you have questions you want to, I would suggest you put them in writing so that they can review them.
Who's that?
So the commissioners can review
Okay.
them. And so that Sean's staff can have an opportunity to respond to them. And you put your questions in writing and put any argument in writing so that it's all in record.
Okay.
Yeah. And then once the commissioners have reviewed it all, they'll let you know, and you can come back and talk to them. That sound,
So am I correct in understanding that there has not been a written report over this other than the letter that I received?
I haven't seen one. Have you, commissioners? We'll have to ask Sean.
Okay.
Is this the only written report on this, John, or?
At this time, if you need clarification or any other details, I can do that, but it is at best an overview.
Okay.
You can do clarification now? All right, just two simple questions.
Okay, why don't, is that all right, commissioners, if he goes ahead now?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
In the paper says it failed, I failed to comply with the directions of two park employees. I was wondering what park employees those were and what directions they were.
Okay. Sean, come on up here to this. It's your people.
That would have been Robert Turpin and myself when asked to step away from my vehicle.
Okay. But that's not the reason you're kicking him.
No,
Okay.
no. It's actions that occurred after that.
And from what we received, we just asked to move out, right? What was the direction of him moving out of the property?
Now, you're thinking, this is not the,
Oh, it's not the house.
not the caretaker house, that's a
Oh.
different deal.
Oh, okay.
This is you were there in a trailer, in the camping area, is that right?
RV, yes.
My apologies.
He
I
was
was
living
thinking
on-
something totally different.
That's all
He
right.
was living on Marina Lane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, he was, I basically asked to leave and not come back or something.
That's correct.
Okay.
More order to leave and not
Well,
come back.
yeah.
Yeah. So what do you want to know today?
I was just wondering, Mr. Gary told me that I could come to this
Sure.
meeting this morning and appeal this, and I was just wondering since there's no written form, what that process looks
Okay.
like. Right, and to proceed with that process.
So I'm thinking of the house and not the trailer. I think Gary is probably, because we got to get up to speed of what all the details were in it.
Okay,
So,
So what I've suggested is, Sean, flesh out the report. We'll send it to you. You list any questions you have and any argument you have, send it back to us. Let the commissioners review it all, and then we'll contact you and get you in here, and if you can have a face-to-face with the commissioners about it.
okay.
you can have your talk then. You can just,
That way you don't have to keep coming back until they're ready to do something.
Is there anything I can add to this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Other than his report?
Sure, go ahead.
I have a videotape of everything that happened.
Well, we won't listen to the videotape on here,
Okay.
but you can,
But mention that in your,
yeah.
Your address, you want me to mail that to? If you give me an address to send that to.
How long did you live at that park?
5 years.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
the commission want to hear this, so.
I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate your time.
And I assume you still want to live there? Yes or no? Did you
No, sir.
want to move back?
No, sir.
No, you don't want to move back.
No, sir. I do not feel safe in this county.
Okay.
So let me ask, one of the things you want to make clear then is what the goal of the appeal would be.
The goal of the appeal would be my mother-in-law still lives in the park, and she has twice since the weather got cold had to call somebody from the outside and pay them to do normal home repairs that I could do. And I feel that my right to travel has been
Okay. So that helps a lot.
violated.
Okay.
I'm not allowed back in a park.
Okay.
I couldn't go to Thanksgiving at my mother-in-law's house.
Right.
And as you all well know, she is recently widowed and does not have her husband there to help her with these things.
Okay. Makes sense.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
William? I guess we just need 20 minutes executive session. You have something else? Okay. We need to go in an executive session for 20 minutes, 10 with Sean for non-elected personnel and 10 minutes legal.
Include,
And we're going to include the new commissioner.
I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
$14.894.
With the sun. We do have some action from executive sessions.
Told you.
At this point, after interviews, I would recommend Michael Chappelle be hired for the maintenance supervisor's position at 9G.
Can you tell us what 9G is in dollar amount? Is it $16 an hour or what is it?
16.827.
There you go. That way so everybody will understand it. So watching. That's your recommendation?
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'll make that motion that we hire that individual at that fee.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that one will actually be a transfer from another department.
Correct.
Already works for us.
Correct. Second recommendation is hire Nicholas Mitchell for an operator one position at 7K.
14.8942.
Okay, I'll make a motion. We hire that individual at that price.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
My next recommendation is that we terminate Clyde Schaefer out of the North Shop at will.
I'll make that motion that we terminate him at will.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Effective today?
Yes.
Effective today.
And that's all I have for you, commissioners.
Thanks, Sean. You have anything else?
I'm good.
You good?
I'm good.
Nobody else?
Well, I guess comment, this Friday is the Christmas lunch and awards banquet.
Get you your money too.
From noon
I think you owe from last year, don't you?
to 2, I believe,
did,
at the
I did. I paid extra.
Christian Church over here at 5th and Spruce. I think it's the corner there. So we've got the stuff set up. We're having somebody bring the food in. Katie's been working on table decorations and desserts because we didn't pay for desserts with it. So I think we're getting things pretty well lined out. She's got all the gifts ready for the ones that get service awards this year.
It's at 12 noon, right?
Yeah. I don't know for sure if she's got everything worked out on setup for getting the tables set where we want them and decorations on them. We might be looking for some help with some of that a little early that day, but she's actually out, not feeling well today, so I'll check in with her and see where we're at on that part of it.
Texas or something. I'll send Rick.
Yeah, I'll be down there. I can help you that day.
I can help you.
Anything, there's food involved, I'm there. Is that it?
That's it for me.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There we go.
He's treated me that way all year, Jason.